snuck up on me on the back wall there. So. Good morning. Good morning. Are we still morning? Yeah, we're still morning. Yeah. It is, though. I mean, it looks pretty. How about the temperature change from yesterday to today? I walked out of the building today. It was like, holy cow. Yeah. Feels like fall. With that, I'll open it up. I don't really have any misstatements. I'm good to go. We're getting ready for the next game, so all eyes on the Colts.
The Colts, they haven't won yet, right? And they had a tough offensive week last week.
Yeah.
What have you seen from them so far that leads you to believe them? They're clearly better than that.
Well, I'll tell you, first of all, they got good players. They got a really good coach, and this will be their first home game. And I just think all of those things added up, we're going to get everything that they have and what I think people thought they were going to be in this particular game. I think we're going to get it all at once. I think the receivers are getting healthy. I mean, yesterday I know there was some limited and one full. So we're anticipating everything they have as an offense. That's how we're going to go about it.
Coach, Nick Bolton called Jonathan Taylor an elite running back.
Yeah.
When you pop the tape on, when you watch this running back, what stands out to you the most, and what are the challenges of defending him?
Yeah, so, and you guys probably YouTube and get it too, but not PFF, but the Gen Stats is always putting out clips, right? So there's 3 of them on there where they've got him busting out through the line, and then over on the bottom right is he's clocked his miles per hour, right? So by the time he gets to the second level linebackers, he's at like 22 miles per hour. That sticks out. You know, if you let him get through the second level, he's a tough tackle for the guys on the back end. And then aside from that, I mean, even last week he ran over a safety. He's got power, he's got speed, right? And I think the scheme that Frank has been using with him really fits him. I see a little bit of, or a lot of, when Le'Veon Bell was in Pittsburgh, and they used to hand him the ball, and he used to bounce and find it. You know, he'd let the seam open up because he's got a good offensive line, and then, boom, he's gone. So he's going to be the #1 focus, obviously.
Steve, Willie Gay was doing a lot for you out there.
Yeah.
What kind of loss is that, not having him?
Yeah, I mean, we lose a lot of energy because he's one of those energy guys with the way he plays. We lose speed, you know, and then that's a starter. You know, when I didn't really realize this till this morning, but we're down 3 starters from the beginning of the season. But, you know, next man up, I know Nick mentioned it yesterday, and that's what we have to do. And Darius will step in there, and there'll be some other guys that will have to pick up the slack. But we'll miss Willie.
Yeah. What are your expectations for Darius Harris?
I tell you what, I'm fired up to see Darius out there. I'm really happy for him that he has this opportunity. You're talking about a guy that's been here for a number of years. If you remember, the first year he was here, it was, you know, quote-unquote a redshirt year, right, because it was a shoulder, I believe. And that's a long year to go through. And then came in, and he's just kind of done this continually as a player, earned himself a right to be on the roster this year. And he's one of those cerebral guys, so I'm really anxious to see what he can do.
You wouldn't have kept him around if you didn't see something.
Exactly.
What did you see in him?
He started, you know, the more he was in the system and the more he played in it, the more comfortable. And because he is a smart football player, he got faster and faster in his play because he's instinctive and, you know, he knows what he's doing now. Sometimes, and he doesn't have the speed that Willie has. But he can play fast because he knows exactly what he's doing.
What did you, if you can recall, in 19 when he was just watching in the classroom, what did you and maybe Brett see that said, okay, this is worth it as the year went on?
Yeah, I can remember his college tape. I mean, he had size, and he played very well at that level in Tennessee where he was playing. But when we interviewed him, the football IQ was really high. And he had size, you know, so there's the potential in the size, and then the football IQ was already there, and that's what kind of attracted us to invest the year in him. And Brett's guys identified him, and I thought it was a real good move. You can't get enough of those guys.
You guys picked up Watson to get the role over, you know, an earlier rounder guy in Joshua Williams, and that paid off. What led you maybe to that decision as training camp? And
well, his play, you know, I mean, I've talked about this before. You got to earn where you are. I think y'all asked me about that. You all accused me about not playing rookies. Somebody did there, right? But you got to earn it, right? And he earned it. He earned it, and he played pretty good for us last week.
How thrilled were you to see the big play?
Yeah, I was fired up about that. You know, Willie made a really good play on that. If you see him, he beats the back, and he kind of gets in the sight lane of the quarterback, which helped. And then for Jalen to react the way he did. The other guy that was really good, I mean, it was they went fast, no huddle, right? And we always get accused of not being ready. I'd say we were ready on that one. right? And part of it was what Justin Reed and Jalen did and talking to communicating together and Willie coming, forcing the quarterback to be off a little bit and we get a big play, so it was huge.
Specifically to that though, on that play, I mean, what did you kind of learn about Nick and the entire defense and their ability to operate quickly in a scenario like that?
I tell you, the Chargers challenge you with no huddles. They really do. A lot of teams are doing that now, right? And we practice it all the time. The only way we can really practice it is either with a scout team or in a walkthrough. And you can never simulate the way that happens on the field. So it's just rep after rep after rep after rep. And Nick yelling what it is, because I got to get it to him. And then he's got to get everybody to hear it and get lined up. And we did a good job on that
Have
one.
you gotten better at it?
I think we have, yeah, I think we have. We're honing in on it. Listen, you can't play good defense if they've already beaten you pre-snap. We talk about it all the time. So we're always working it. I just don't know that you can get enough. I just don't know you can get the simulation, until you get into the game. So maybe if we get a bunch of them early in the season, we'll be better toward the end.
Couple more, Matt and Nate.
A lot of new guys.
Sam. I was looking at Matt, I'm sorry.
Sorry, they used to call me when John Harbaugh and I worked together. It was I'd get called Harbs, he'd get called Spags all the time. So I know the feeling.
Go ahead, Matt.
Yeah.
You guys have a lot of new guys on defense this year, and so far early in the year seems to be functioning pretty well, but I'm sure you've got a ton of things that
Yeah.
you've identified. How would you just assess the overall product?
Overall pretty good. We've harped on, Dave and Donald and Brendan on the back end as coaches have harped on communicating visually and, verbally. And again, you can't simulate in practice, but, it's more challenging for us here because that's when it's loudest. But we work hard at it, and I think the coaches have done a good job conveying it to the players.
Spags, to that point about simulation and getting ready, is it more gratifying because it was against an opponent that did it to you last year, and part of their thought process was, hey, we may have gotten the chance?
Yeah, I mean, they do it against everybody. I mean, that's part of their deal. But you're right. In the first game at home here a year ago, which I'm still not happy with because one of them was like a 2-point play, and you're supposed to have time. I still don't get that one. But there was one prior to that they kind of beat us quickly. And that one of those, it might have been that one that I didn't like the call that I made. I made a call that was a little bit more difficult to get lined up, and it should have been something a little bit more simpler. So we've tried to simplify it and hopefully gotten better at it.
I know you've seen growth from young linebackers and signal callers throughout your career, but what Nick's doing right now, would you consider that abnormal?
Pretty impressive, yeah. And it's funny, I tell you where he was very fortunate. For a year, he watched Anthony Hitchens. And Hitch did it as good as anybody. And I really feel like in this league, when rookies come in, part of the way they develop has a lot to do with the veterans in front of them. And I thought that's a great example. Now, I think Nick would have been at this level anyway, but I think he learned from a really good one. And he wanted to embrace it and learn it. And now he's operating for us really, really good.
Thanks, everyone.
Okay, appreciate it. Yep.
Matt.